And Barbara is graduating Monday from Yale, and she will get a degree in the humanities. She studied the Middle Ages, the Renaissance period, the literature, the art, the religion of those periods. Some pretty tough courses.
And Doug, let me make sure I get these right. On the left on your screen there, the blonde is Jenna, University of Texas. And then Barbara, as you mentioned, goes to Yale, going to graduate on Monday. Now, will Dad go to the either ceremony? We hear not. Is this unprecedented?
It's not unprecedented. He will not. He will fly into both cities, New Haven and Austin, Austin tonight for parties, little dinner parties with the girls and their friends. It's not unprecedented. It happened a lot in early American history, but in modern history, the only time it happened was Julie Nixon Eisenhower. She was graduating from Smith College. It was a pretty brutal time. We talk about how polarized everyone is on politics today. This was the 70s, 1970 exact. And people spit on her on campus because she was a Republican, I guess. There was a mock convention held that year at Smith, and no one, not a student or a teacher, would play the part of her father, who was the sitting president of the United States, Richard Nixon. So the environment was so hostile that the president and first lady were told not to attend, not to take that chance, and Julie herself did not attend her own graduation.
Doug, I was going to ask you about that. You know, college campuses are not known as the bastions of conservatism, so how were they treated on their campuses? Do you have any idea?
Jenna and Barbara. Well, Juliet, it's a different era.
Yeah, people are a little bit more tactless.
Well, and the twins are less political maybe than many presidential daughters have been in recent years, and there wasn't fair and balanced news back in the 1970s. You were pretty much on your own if you didn't adhere to a very strict, absolute liberal line. There's been a backlash. It's considered anti-intellectual. There are even occasionally a professor in some of these Ivy League schools, as well as the students, who are a part of a backlash, who just don't want one rigid philosophy crammed down their throats and say, hey, let's discuss this. It's a little easier environment. Barbara actually at Yale was resident at the same college that her father went to, and she represents the fourth generation of Bush to go to that school.
You know, since 9/11, Doug, times have changed so much all across this country, of course on college campuses as well. What has life been like for the twins being on college campuses? I mean, could they move about freely?
This has been a dangerous time for president children. No one talk about it publicly. I suppose I shouldn't be doing that now either. But Susan Ford had assassination attempts, kidnapping attempts. It's very common for presidential children. It's not discussed publicly, but you know, they go jogging. They had that trail of Secret Service following along behind them. When we invaded Iraq and we went into Uday Hussein's palace, in the basement of his palace, you may remember this, there was a porno room, and pinned to the wall of this room of Saddam Hussein's son were pictures of the Bush twins.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a chilling thing.
Well, we congratulate them. They are graduating again.
Yes.
Today it's Jenna graduating from Texas, and then
Austin.
Barbara graduates on Monday. Dad's not going to be able to be there at the actual graduations for obvious reasons, but he'll be celebrating. They'll be celebrating.
Yeah. Juliet, you know, last night the president gave a speech at LSU.
Yes.
And it was a graduation ceremonies at the school. And he made 5 points. And his first point was, be careful of the friends you choose. It's a good point. Psychologists tell us that after about 5 or 6 years of our life, we're the prisoners of our peers forever. He made that point at the graduation. And immediately afterwards, the press went into a frenzy. They said, well, is he addressing Iraq and Chalabi? Is he making this statement to the United Nations? What's his point? And we often think of these presidents and their families as Ottomans, as robots, all people in public life. We say, well, why didn't they go to the left? Why didn't they go to the right? You know, that was stupid. But they have love, and they have family, and they make decisions out of that like all of us do. And there's no question, anyone who knows the family, that George W. Bush was speaking to his daughters. And he was saying to those kids at LSU last night what he hopes someone will say at the University of Texas today and at Yale on Monday, and tell his daughters, be careful of the friends you choose.
Hey, Doug Wead, this was nice. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
It was cool. All the President's Children by Doug Wead.